Hey Finner, happy birthday. I'm going to read you the first chapter of this book. It's called Mysteries of the Overworld, and it's the unofficial Minecrafter's Adventure book. It's written by Danica Davidson. Chapter 1. My cousin Alex was pounding on the front door so hard you'd think that every monster in the overworld was chasing her. As soon as I opened the door, she rushed inside the house, her eyes wild. She gasped, "I found something that changes everything. You have to come see, right now." "Is this about the crystal shard?" I asked. Just days before, Alex, my friends from Earth, and I had fought off an army of Endermen to protect a strange purple crystal shard that we'd found. We'd figured out the crystal shard possessed some kind of very old magic, and the Endermen wanted to use it so they could release somebody, or something, extremely dangerous from some kind of prison. Some people who touched the crystal, including me, had even heard an evil woman's voice in our heads. But we still had no idea exactly what the crystal was or what it could do. I said, "Let's go," Alex demanded, not bothering to answer me. She was still catching her breath from running. "Dad, I'm going out with Alex," I called, as Alex grabbed me by my turquoise shirt and yanked me out of the house. Dad's reminder to be careful was cut off by the door closing. My cousin tended to be as fiery as her red hair, but this was wild even for her. She must have found something big. "I was searching the area trying to find clues about the crystal," Alex said as she ran, "and I discovered some old mine shafts near where you found the shard." Alex wanted to be an explorer when she grew up, and she had already explored her heart out whenever she got the chance. "Stevie," Alex said, panting, "get ready to have everything you know about the overworld turned upside down." "What do you mean?" I said, rushing to keep up with her. My pulse was pounding in my ears, and it wasn't just from running. She shook her head. "It's something you just have to see." A recent wither attack had opened up a crevice in a mountain, and Alex led me to the far side of the blast. There was a hole in the ground, and Alex leapt down into it, shouting, "Follow me." I didn't have any weapons with me, and I knew monsters, also called mobs, could be lurking in that dark mineshaft. But Alex did have her arrows, and I needed to see what she was so excited about. If it solved the crystal shard mystery and stopped the creepy voice. "Get me out of this prison. I'm ready to rule again," the voice had said to my friend. The voice was so malicious that remembering it gave me the heebie-jeebies even now. I took a deep breath and followed Alex down into the darkness. In the mineshaft, Alex pulled out a torch to give us a little light. "Look at this," she said. We'd come up to a door. In the torchlight, I could see it was etched with the same fancy symbols I'd found on the door that led to the crystal shard. It looked like a fancy S and A looped together like a design. My heart leapt into my throat. There might be some really good clues in there. Alex opened the door with a nearby switch. "Did you find another crystal shard?" I asked. "No," she said. "Even better." We crept into the room. It was ghostly silent, like it held the silence of the centuries that had been abandoned and untouched. Our footfalls were as loud as thunder. "Look at this," Alex said, picking up a book and handing it to me. The book was dusty, but I could see someone had already smeared some of the dust off the cover so they could read it. That must have been Alex earlier. The cover had the same S and A design on it in gold letters. I started to open the book, but the pages wouldn't budge for some reason. "I couldn't get it open either," Alex said. "It must need a key, but I haven't found any around here. But look, turn it over." I flipped the book over. On the back was a drawing of a purple crystal shard. "This looks just like the shard we found," I said. Alex nodded. "Imagine what we could find inside," she said. "It might explain all the mysterious things that have been going on." I was getting excited. Maybe my dad will know how to open it. My dad knew just about everything in the overworld, though the crystal shard had stumped him. We were keeping it safely hidden away in our house, and he had been visiting librarians in nearby villages to search for information and ask the villagers about it. So far, all the librarians were clueless. "That's not even the most mind-blowing part," Alex said. "Look." She took me over to the mineshaft wall, moving the torch close so I could see. Someone had carved an image in the wall of a strong-looking man standing in a heroic way, holding up his diamond sword. It looked like he was daring mobs to attack him, as though he could take on anyone. "It's just Steve Alexander," I said, feeling let down. I thought Alex was going to show me something more impressive than this. After all, that you just have to see it for yourself, Stevie taught. Steve Alexander had lived thousands of years ago, and he had become a legend. Everyone knew who he was, and lots of people in the overworld named their kids Steve, Alexander, Stephanie, and Alexandra because of him. My name was Stevie, and my dad's name was Steve, and his dad's name was Steve, and his dad's, well, I think you get the point. It was the same for my cousin. Alex was a nickname for Alexandra. Her mom was named Alexandra, and all the firstborn daughters in the family had been given the same name for generations. So there were images of Steve Alexander everywhere. In the nearby village, there was a big statue of him in the same pose, holding up his diamond sword. Dad and Aunt Alexandra had always said that Alex and I were descendants of Steve Alexander. But everyone told their kids that. When I was little, Alex and I sometimes argued with other kids who was really related to Steve Alexander. That's how I realized all the kids had been told the same thing. So I stopped believing it, though Alex was still convinced we were related to him. And who wouldn't want to be related to someone so heroic? Before Steve Alexander had come along, the world had been so overrun with mobs that people had to hide in their homes all the time. We still had to deal with mobs these days, but things were much better now because of him. I'm not talking about Steve Alexander, Alex said. Look, you can tell this image is really old, right? Yeah, I said. You could see from the way it was carved that it had been on the wall for centuries. It might have been even made before when Steve Alexander was still alive. Alex moved the torchlight to the side. Next to the familiar image of Steve Alexander was an image of a woman carved into the rock. This time my heart jumped so high in my throat I almost choked on it. This can't be, I said. I grabbed the torch from Alex's hand to hold it closer, convinced I was seeing the image wrong. I wasn't. My eyes were absolutely, positively not playing tricks on me. This image looked as old as the Steve Alexander carving, and you could tell by the way they were carved next to each other that they were connected. The carved woman had an emerald-shaped face, long, thick hair, and wise eyes. She was standing with her arms crossed in front of her stomach and her long fingers touching her arms. No one in the overworld had her body shape. No one in the overworld had fingers. This woman was from Earth. That's the first chapter, Finn. And if you're interested in buying this book, maybe we can get this for you later if you thought it was a good story. So I just want you to have a great birthday and have a fun time, and I love you. Bye-bye.